All right, guys, this episode was very fresh. Max, thanks for coming on, buddy. We had a great time. Guys, tomorrow night, we have the Ted Jones Comedy Show at 116 East 16th Street at The Stand Comedy Club and Restaurant. It's going to be freaking lit, guys. Check the link in the description here and get to that comedy show. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And can't wait to see you guys there, all right? Enjoy the episode. Yeah?
Now we're living. This feels good. This feels a lot more comfortable for me. Hey. Oh, yeah, dude. Now we're on the radio.
I see your face. Okay, we're great. Go ahead, talk.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, talk.
Oh,
Good?
oh, Ted Jones.
Live?
Yeah, we're live.
All right, let's get into it. Okay.
Yeah, look who's just sitting down.
All right,
now,
perfect,
dude.
man.
Look who's just sitting down.
Perfect,
now.
bro. How are you? Max
I'm good,
Manticof.
man.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, man.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So you are taking City Bike basically
no,
everywhere?
not city, just my own bike, dude.
Oh, you have your own bike?
Yeah, you got to ride in traffic. You got to go fast.
You like lock it up on the pole outside?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't get stolen. Is this neighborhood okay? Yeah,
Hopefully.
Are we fucking fine?
Have you done any jobs that like require a bike? Like I know you were you were doing Lyft driving
comedy,
for a little bit.
I guess. Like it's the easiest way to do it. Like you just spot. Yo, yesterday I biked to Broadway or whatever, like 53rd.
And like 8th Avenue?
Yo, that is deep.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Significant distance.
But does that help you not take the subway at all? Like just being able to bike everywhere?
Dude, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. You know, want to hear something crazy? I just told Derek Drescher yesterday. I told him, I was like, yo, because he has an in to run the New York City Marathon. I was like,
oh, he's got the plug?
Do it. Yeah.
Good for you.
So
Maybe
I
you
think
should. And it's
that's
also
the next-
hard to like get into it, apparently.
Yeah. So like that's the next goal, I think. Like random, super random.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you played sports, you played tennis.
Yeah.
Do you not ever feel like you need like a physical feat?
I mean,
I need one constantly.
But
I need
like
something.
running a marathon, man, it just seems like
No one
a
else
lot
has
of,
done it though.
Yeah, but a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'm running the marathon. They don't train for it and they don't take it seriously. Do you have like a goal? You're like under 3.5 hours, something like that?
I think I'm probably gonna aim for like 2:15. I'm gonna try to qualify for the Olympics. What?
Dude, that's like 7-minute miles. If you do that, imagine.
He ran a full marathon. He was like, yo, you should do it. And I
So
was
how
like,
does
word.
he has the plug now? Now he just knows the guy.
Well, he used to be in like
Mr.
insane
Marathon.
shape and like do stuff like that. And he's obviously very old now. You know,
So let's start from the beginning, Max.
The guy's old.
Grew up in Queens.
That's
moved to Manhattan when?
Last year.
How's it been?
It's whatever. I mean, I get to bike around the city.
Yeah, that's great.
I went from just being an out of shape guy who lived in Queens, you know, to like I'm running the New York City Marathon. I'm a changed.
Do you have a
man,
roommate
dude.
over there?
I have two. I live with two women. It's not good. Yeah. I thought it was gonna be dope. It's like
I'm trying to think why it wouldn't be. They're just messy, probably.
and it's not that. It's just like completely different people. You know, like I'm a guy. I'm a 27-year-old man, and they're a couple of years younger than me, and women, and best friends. So there's just like a different energy in the
Are they in
crib.
comedy at all?
No.
Are they home a lot?
I don't know.
Corporate job?
I've talked about this on stage, but like they move in the house like deer, dude. Like I never know when anyone's home when they're not home, and then randomly a door opens. And I'm like, what the like? Like it's
Are you
like
sharing a bathroom
scary,
with them
dude.
too?
Yeah.
How is that?
Not that bad, man, because I only shower once a week.
Okay.
No, I shower every day, but it's not that bad. Like
You
we
like
work
shower at the stand?
different schedules, yeah. I shower in yo, dude.
What up?
Did you know that the stand in like the private bathroom upstairs has like a pull down shower if you look up on the ceiling?
No.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that's for like the lab stuff?
Just you ever see those bathrooms? Yo, in Asia, that's how you shower.
What,
I know we were
they
just
have a
talking about,
pool
like-
thing in the public bathrooms?
Yeah. Like that you could shower or take a shit at the bathroom in Japan.
Bro, let's talk about Asia. You love traveling, huh?
I did, yeah.
You did. What happened?
I do. I don't know, man.
I mean, bro, you're going to San Diego.
If I say I
you're going
did,
to LA.
if I say I did, it will make me less sad that I don't get to do it, you know?
Interesting.
But I do like I think it's like the coolest thing you could ever do.
When you went to Asia, what kind of stuff were you doing?
I don't know, fucking and traveling.
Well, but you were how old though?
No, I was just having fun. I was just traveling, bro. I grabbed the backpack and I had like 2 pairs of shorts, and then I was like, yeah, dude, let's go travel around the world. I was like, I've never done it.
Careful.
I know. So I'm holding the table.
But you went there and it was just to backpack around kind of Eurasia, Asia.
Yeah, so I had a buddy. He was like, dude, if you're gonna do this like once in your life, like do it now. Like it's kind of the same thing with like the marathon, where I'm like, there's certain things in my life that I'm like, yeah, I don't know when I'll ever have a chance to do it again. Derek has a bid. I don't need to run 15 races to qualify. I just got to train for one big race, one thing that I'm like, this is like.
So it could happen for you this November.
I'm gonna do it. It's not could. I'm gonna do it.
You're doing it.
Yeah, starting probably. I'm probably gonna train for about 2 weeks, and then.
I mean, but like you're biking up to Broadway and such, biking 10 plus miles a day. So what I think I'm going to try to do
is like, if I bike 20 miles a day, like throughout the day. So like if I take a 10-mile bike ride and then I usually do 10 miles for like spots, like at night, like if I go to Broadway and back, that's like 8 already. Yeah. So like the miles that you add up are so quick that I'm like, if I just take like a 10-mile bike ride, probably takes me like 40 minutes a day, do it nice and early in the morning, good, I'll be fine.
Well, you can also fly up the FDR Drive. That's like a
I don't like that, man, because there's people. Like, I like going fast.
Well,
if
you go early, I feel like it would be better.
What do you mean?
Like if you went early, probably wouldn't be as much traffic. You spend any time at Waterside Plaza over there. You familiar with Waterside Plaza?
No.
People really don't know about it. It's just like a nice area over by the water near where you
But how many miles do you have? Do you have like 3 miles to like... Yeah, that's the thing is everything in New York is so small. I'm like, I need space. I just have to bike down like a street.
Yeah, or like West Side Highway. You can kind of fly up all the way up to, I guess, the Bronx and then all the way down to the Freedom
But
Tower.
even there,
that's
it's like, so I've biked by like Chelsea and like they have like those divider poles.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
there's
go
like
early,
mad
like
people
you were
running
saying.
And also biking and all that. And I was like, there's just a lot of people here. Like, well, at least with cars, like I don't have to worry about people. And I know that doesn't even make sense, but like,
do you have a biking outfit?
People
you have
go
like
mad slow.
this sleek
I go with
stuff.
this, dude. Like, yeah.
Even when you're doing the serious biking, like 20 miles and such.
Yeah.
What's the furthest bike ride you've done?
Probably like 30.
And where would that be to and back?
Just up and down Manhattan.
And you do that just for fun?
I've done it just for fun, yeah.
Anyone bike with you when you're doing these bike rides?
Like, I use it as like, I use biking almost like meditation.
Therapeutic, right?
Like, okay, I'll just throw on like something that I need to listen to. I'm like a memo, a joke, something that I want to like work on my own shit. And then I just go for a long bike ride. And then while I'm biking, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should add this, play with this.
Do you ever bike with somebody else or usually just do it solo?
I don't, dude. I don't think you should ever exercise with anyone else.
That's like how I feel when I run. You know, like I don't run with music anymore. Like there was a time when I would have my big Beats headphones and my phone in my pocket and my keys, you know, clanking. And then I just realized it was so much nicer to like run down on the west side on the river or over there on the east side. I just run slowly.
You're like competitive though. Like you played sports.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. So it's like, I can't run with someone else because in my head, I'm like, if they start like pushing pace, I'm going to push pace faster. With them. Totally. It's not even just keep up. It's like, I'm going to keep up and then I'm also going to want to go past them. Obviously, if you like run marathons, I'm just trying to keep up. But like if you're just like a normal person that like I'm running with, I'm like most likely I'm going to outrun you.
Do you play sports in high school?
Baseball.
Where did you go to high school?
Queens Vogue.
So I chose tennis over baseball when I was 12 years old. I won Peter Stuyvesant Little League.
I told you I worked at the US Open.
Yeah.
We were like the same people, but we chose different routes.
Yeah, dude. But like I won Little League MVP, and then that week I decided tennis camp. Looking back, I was like, why did I do that? But I just liked the individual sports. I didn't like when other people were missing pop flies.
Were you like a jock though? Like what was your like sport life like? You were like, I'm out here fucking these
I was
hoes.
like, yeah, bro. Like really? 8th grade was it. The 8th grade, that was it.
You was out here piping down bitches in 8th grade?
It's not piping down, but like it started like
kissing.
Flirtings were, yeah,
you were like,
all the time.
I was pecking all these bitches.
Yes, dude, grinding, slow dancing. That was me, 8th grade. So haven't hit my peak in adult life yet, but we'll see, man. We'll see. Growing up in the city, I also feel like I grew up slightly faster. Like I was allowed to do things that maybe kids who grew up in the suburbs weren't allowed to do quite yet. Like being 14 years old, traveling the subway system like by myself, which I'm sure you were doing when you were 14, but like 14-year-olds in the suburbs, they were getting picked up by their parents, you know, from parties at 11 p.m. They weren't like taking Ubers and stuff like that. So growing up these days, it's a lot different because it almost feels like kids these days are growing up faster with the phones. They have access to anything on the internet. But like when we were growing up, it was like, I don't know, we kind of just stayed in our neighborhood. I don't know kind of how you felt about that.
Well, like you kind of stayed at like zone schools. I mean, I don't know how it was like anywhere you live, but like my middle school was 2 blocks away. Then my high school's a little further, but like now you're in high school. So
yeah, I grew up like 2 blocks away from my middle school.
Yeah, we definitely had a stalker too. Like we had like people on our blocks and like we would call my mom and be like, this guy's following us.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, they like grew up in your neighborhood or they were just weird people who lived in the area?
Like stalkers. Like I'm talking like dudes who would like look at kids. And like I had friends who were like like we all like lived in the neighborhood. So like best friends would be like, yeah, there's a stalker that lives on this block. We don't go down that block anymore.
So do you grow up with the same people that you went to like elementary school, middle school, and high school with?
No, actually all of our friends went to like different schools. We all just like lived next to each other. So like, everybody grew up on the block. We were like 8 years old when we all met. And then we just like would play sports on like the sidewalk, play like baseball, football, basketball. Like all my friends, they went to different schools. And then we all just kind of grew up on the block. It literally was insane.
Did you guys have a football team in high school?
No.
Oh.
But our childhood in regards to like the amount of people that we grew up with like on the same block. The fact that there was like 12 kids that were the same age on the same block.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And all of us grew up together, like best friends. Like,
dude, that's really weird because that's kind of how I grew up. Like I grew up on 18th Street. It felt
like a cul-de-sac.
They were like
in Astoria.
Yeah, there were like 8 kids on my block who all went to the same school. Kind of weird doing that.
Were you like friends with them though? Like
kind of. Not like not fully tight with them. But you're still friends with all these people who grew up on your block?
These are like my brothers and sisters.
Nice. And your family still lives there?
No. Absolutely not.
No.
Yeah, they left when So I went to San Diego. You already know that, right?
Yeah.
I went to San Diego when I was 21.
Why?
And then I graduated. I was like, let's go do some shit.
Where'd you graduate from?
Farmingdale.
And you went out there to pursue
engineering, mechanical engineering.
Oh wow. Bro, that's a crazy profession.
Yeah. I don't like tell anybody. I worked in aerospace for a little bit. It was cool, it was whatever, but I wasn't fulfilled. I hated it. Like I just didn't like the people I worked with, the job, the whole thing.
What was your thought process in moving out to San Diego to do that? I mean, you were young, you didn't know anything.
Yeah, I was 21.
But besides that, what was your kind of?
I was always just like very independent though. I was like, I'm just gonna make decisions based on like what I want to do right now. Like I don't overthink things. I just live my life in regards to like what do I want right now and like what's the grand goal. Like the goal was always like make a fuckload of money and figure life out, like have a happy family and live. And for me, I was like, oh, engineering is that. And then I got into engineering and I was like, okay, I can make a fuckload of money. I was like, but I hate what I do.
Did you have to go to school beyond that? Like once you first started your job when you were 21?
I was going to get my master's in Israel, which is crazy.
Oh, dude, let's go. I love Israel. I went there for Birthright and I went there previously before that. Some of the best times of my life.
I went there for Birthright and then they told me after Birthright, they were like, yo, you should come back.
Bro, you're like, Jewish?
Yeah.
Me too, man.
Nice.
Shabbat shalom.
Jew gang, dude.
Dude, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
They were like, come back, like do your environmental engineering, like full scholarship, but you have to live here for 2 years after. So they were like, you have to live your next 4 years of your life in Israel. And I was like, I'm not ready to commit to that.
It's also because like if you committed to these 4 years, like you have to kind of look beyond that. You know, it's like somebody who's in medical school. They're like, okay, I know that these 4 years are going to be tough as shit, but I'm looking forward to being a doctor at the end. Like if you were to have to be in the school for 4 years and then after that you were an engineer, you're like, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah.
Was your long-term thought process getting into entertainment? How did that start?
Nah, that was like random. I was running a podcast with a buddy called like The Oddly Relatable, and we would like pull people off the streets and just talk to them. And like literally like off the streets. It was like we'd just speak to people outside, and then the people with like the coolest jobs would be like, yo, you want to come do a podcast? And then we'd only like stay in contact with a couple of them. But I had like, I don't know, sex workers like off the street come in. Like I had like, it would like, the thing is we were interviewing like wild people. Like I would just like walk down the street and speak to there was this guy, I have his name like on my Facebook. He never did the podcast, but he was just the guy on the street who was like homeless downtown one night. And we were walking by him and he was like, help me out, man, please. Like I'm homeless. He's like, and today's my birthday. And we just walked by him. And in my head, I was like, why would someone lie about that? I'm like, that'd be a wild lie. So I like walk up to him and I was like, yo, is today really your birthday? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, here's $20, dude. I was like, go get yourself a burger. I was like, get off the streets. I was like, happy birthday. Like, go enjoy it. And he was like, oh, thank you so much, man. And I was like, do you have a Facebook? And he was like, yeah. I was like, let's stay in contact. I was like, let me know when you get off the streets. He told me his wife left him. He's like, I've only been on the streets for like 3 days. He's like, but like, I'm really struggling right now. And I was like, all right, connect with me on Facebook. And when everything works out, I was like, let me know. And this dude messaged me on Facebook like 2 months later. And he goes, hey, Max, I'm living in Arizona now. Life's good. Got me a new lady. Big butt. He said big butt, dude.
Was this when you were in San Diego also?
Huh?
You were in San Diego at this time when you met him?
Yeah, I was in San Diego, yeah. And then I thought about like coming and like bringing that dude onto the pod. And because I was like, he was like another dude that I had like just met on the street, you know? And we never like were able to like arrange to whatever, but he had hit me up a couple times since and was just like, oh, how's everything? Like, I'm doing well now, you know? Like, how about you? How's this?
You're going to see him in a show eventually when you make it out to Arizona?
One day in life, I'm going to fucking
you will.
It's in my Facebook messengers. Like, I can't even see, like, I don't know his name, but it's, if I just scroll through, it's somewhere. Like, this was maybe 4 years ago when we were doing the pod. And like, I remember that specific guy. Like, obviously we've had like other interviews. Yeah, we had strippers come in that like would tell us like how they play dudes at strip clubs. And I was like, this is
how? What was the kind of stuff they would do? Play dudes. Like, they'd be like, ooh, you look like you have a lot of money.
Nah, complete opposite. They walk up to tables. They'd be like, yo, y'all broke? And the guys would be like, hell no. Like,
shit.
they'd play the other game where she was
Yeah.
like almost calling them pussy. Like, she'd walk up to like tables and she was like, yeah, I really don't have drinks.
Like, you don't have $20 to give me right now.
Yeah. Or like, there'd be like $40 on the table and she's like, that's all y'all brought? Like, she would like play dudes, make them like pull out money. She told me one time, she was like, yo, I took this guy back to like this back room. And the guy was like, how much is a lap dance? And she goes, how much you got? And he pulls out 300. She takes the 300 from his hand. She's like, that's how much. And then he goes, wait. He's like, I need money for lunch. She'd pull out $40, gave it to him. She's like, that's lunch. And then gave him a lap dance. I was like, yo, that's the toughest shit I ever
Damn,
had.
that's San Diego?
He pulled 260 out of his hands. Yeah, like the people we would meet on the streets and then just get to podcast and talk to, I was like, this is crazy, dude. And then I ended up getting into comedy after that.
When I was a freshman and sophomore in high school, my tennis coach actually lived in Carlsbad. So I spent a ton of time out in California. This is when I went to like the performing arts high school where they would give me extra time to go like to tournaments, or I'd go and train in Carlsbad, La Jolla, places like that. But that's crazy that you spent all that time there as well as I did. They have the nicest weather in the country, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though. It's like, it's hard for people to be sad. And like, not that like you need like sadness for comedy, but like you wanted like perspective.
You also want to be outside.
Well, I just think like,
no, not inside. Sorry.
well, just like you got to go somewhere where like the best in the world are, where it's like there's some sort of conflict. Like you have to live in conflict. And I know it's like weird, but like I think living in a place of chaos, your life can be okay. But living in a place where other chaos happens around you, like it's almost like inspirational. It's weird, but like in San Diego, everything's perfect. Like I can't even explain that any better than that. But it's like life is good.
Like every day,
you work at a
76
surf
and sunny.
shop from 9 to 2, and then you go catch high tide at 3.
Yeah.
And then you go home and you know the local guy who gives you an acai bowl for dinner, and you're like, what kind of fucking life is this? And then people are like, I'm gonna go do comedy after. I'm like, you had a good day.
How did you get into comedy?
Like
Just getting
literally
back to
that.
it.
So it was like the podcast, and then like after just meeting so many like crazy people, because you meet so many like normal people, and then there's like a couple of just like insane people that you meet like on the streets, and like they end up being very interesting, and like there's so much like life in every single person, you know? Like you'll meet a 40-year-old person thinking that they had just have their life together, they're leaving Trader Joe's, and you're like, hey, like, how was your life? And someone's like, I was in prison for 12 years, and you're like, oh fuck, like. You never know like what someone's lived. So like meeting those like random people in San Diego in this place of like perfection, I was like, yeah, I kind of like this, like dissecting. And then I've always loved comedy, and I was like, let me just try it.
And you started out there?
Huh?
You started out there in San Diego?
Yeah. But like it started because like I was like interviewing people, and then finally I interviewed like a comic, and then I also spoke to Neil Brennan at a bar one time, and Neil was like, yo, you and your buddy should give each other $300, and whoever doesn't do an open mic owes the other one $300. And I was like, that's fire. And so like we shook on it like in front of Neil. And then within a month, I went up. My buddy never paid me, but like I started and never stopped, and now it's just been doing it.
How'd you transfer to New York pretty easily though?
I'm from here, so like I just came.
What was the
like,
first kind of stuff you were doing here?
Like comedy?
Yeah.
Oh, I ran like warehouse shows and shit. That was like the street talk stuff I was doing.
And that, for the most part, you kind of started that like a couple years ago, right? But was it like unofficially street talk comedy years before that?
No, it was street talk from 2 years ago. Like I had even like done shows before that, but they were always just like one-offs or something. Like I had done like, for example, like I used to do a show called Comedy for Cancer. So my mom had cancer, and this year's gonna be the 4th one that we do in December. But when it first started, we didn't even have street talk. It was like 3.5 years ago. I did a show, and I was like, yeah, let's raise some money for my mom's medical bills. And we did the show, and a fuckload of people came out, and we ended up making like, I don't know, $1,700. And that was like the first time that like I did a show that I was like, oh shit. Like you can make some money for like a good cause, like, but you can make some money for you too. It's like, you could do this overall. Like, and I kind of figured it out. I was like, okay, like I could be out here begging for spots and asking for spots, or I could just make my own shit, survive while everybody has to work a job. And I'm like, I'm running my own show, and I get to do comedy like full time and figure it out. And I think like the more time you can invest into something, the better you'll get at it. So I was like, the second I had unemployment that I could collect, plus run my own show, plus like live in a basement that was costing me almost nothing. In
like
Bushwick.
everything was going back into comedy and the shows.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Max runs I'm going to say international show at this point, Street Talk Comedy. His next 2 dates are
international, dude.
in
Toronto soon.
In San Diego,
yeah.
July 13th, and
LA 13th.
LA July 13th, San Diego July 14th, and then back in the city here on July 30th. So you guys need to catch a show. It's amazing.
Dates.
Bro, I've not been to a show yet. I need to. These events look sick. So how do you go about finding venues for Street Talk Comedy? Because for the most part, it's BYOB,
I just
right?
speak to people. I just ask them. I'm just like, hey, dude, like, can I
but you reach out to people who have backgrounds in like the art industry, who would have warehouses. How do you kind of reach out to specific people?
Yeah, I just like post on Instagram. I'm like, yo, does anyone know a cool spot? And someone's like, my brother's uncle's father owns a dance studio with, like type shit. And you're like, okay, I'm in. Like, send me his info. And then I'll just send them. And I'm like, hey, I'll give you this much money for this much time. And most people are always like, yeah, I want money. Like, I see like this whole industry. I forgot who I spoke to about. It might have been a comic, but they asked me about like getting spots in the city and like how hard it is. Obviously, like when you first move here, you're like, how do you meet people?
They weren't from the city?
No, okay. Like they came from like LA, and they're like, how do you do it? And I was like, yo, you gotta like offer shit before you ask for shit. Like you can't just show up to a city and be like, yo, can I get like a spot in every single show? It's like, bro, nah, have a show, put a bunch of people on, like give a bunch of people, but like also do it for like your friends. But like in the beginning, I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna put like the big dogs on. Like everybody's trying to fucking work. Like I don't want to like name drop people, but like I had like a bunch of big names like pull up to the show when I first got to New York, and I was like, okay, this is a good way to like get my fucking name out there. Like, and honestly though, like I was bombing in front of these people at first, but it's more about like I'm just getting to work with them, and then I would bomb because we only got to do comedy once every like 2 weeks. Like during COVID, it's like you're only doing comedy like twice a week.
Yeah, if that, and then maybe you'd be on Zoom probably.
It was so slow. And we just went from like a drought of like barely even doing it for like 6 months. So I was like, okay, like everybody's rusty as fuck. Like the big dogs, obviously, like they're getting more spots. So like they're getting back into it easier. But like us, we were like going out there with like brand new premises every 2 weeks. Like literally something I've never even said out loud, like open mic shit, But you were like, this is the only place I could do this. So I was like, I want to do open mic shit in front of 100 people.
Yeah, especially when it's like your show and like you're supposed to be the big dog. People you have to like fire away and like go do amazing up there.
Dude, I think it's the opposite. Like,
no, but I'm saying, but like your mindset, weren't you thinking like, oh, I have to do amazing up there because it's your show?
I saw it as like, let me grow. Like, let me just like try and fail. And like, these are like the big dogs. So for me, I was like, if I get to study them and watch them and like how they cultivate their jokes, and then I keep trying new shit, it's like, this is only going to help me. Like the day of shit obviously sucks because like you go home and you're like, oh, that set didn't go as well as it could have. But like, you don't got to come out with all your A material every time. Like those people have now seen it. They come back. We have regulars. So it's like, if you've already seen this material, comedy's best for strangers. I'm not going to keep doing the same material. So I'd pull up with like brand new shit every 2 weeks. And it was like, oh, this is eating it. This is eating it. This is eating it.
How do you set up the like the chairs, the lighting, like
with my hands?
For it to be like up to your standard though? Like, are you bringing in 50 to 100 seats every show? Like literal chairs. I
mean, I literally pick up the chairs like right before the shows, and then I like load them in my car. I usually fit anywhere from like 70 to 100 chairs in my car, barely, but I fit them. And then I'll just like drive and unload the whole car with like all the equipment.
Do you have a venue
it's literally pop-up shows.
Do you have a venue for the end of July yet? Or you're figuring out?
I'm going to do this outdoor venue in LES. Yeah. We just did a show there kind of recently. It was sick as fuck.
Which show has been the best? One in New York City or like outside like Texas?
Best is, I don't know. Best is kind of hard because like we've just like done a lot of cool
shows.
Most
fun for you.
Yeah, but I would say like the biggest, like something that was like a cool accomplishment is like we did like a 140 person show in San Diego in like a boxing ring. And like the boxing ring was like the stage.
Oh, I remember seeing that,
and I hosted it and I was just like, this is nuts, man. Like I just remember being on
like the stage, like it was just all around.
Yeah,
you were just like
setting up the lights on the stage. I set up everything. Like I didn't have anyone there, and I set up this giant fucking show in a boxing gym, and 140 people showed up, and then I hosted the fuck out of it.
How do you get word out about that?
Just friends telling friends telling friends.
And San Diego, you were in for a good enough time. You felt like you made a good amount of friends over there?
Yeah, I was there for like 4 years. So like my friends will tell their friends, then tell their friends, and then like I'll drop off flyers, stickers, ads. You could do Instagram shit like everywhere.
How much stand-up were you able to do though in San Diego over those 4 years?
A lot. Like, yeah, you could get up a lot. There's 6 clubs now in the city. Like, I think there was only 4 when I was there. Yeah, like 4 or 5. One of them came.
What's the big one over there?
There's a couple. There's like La Jolla Comedy Store.
I think that's the one I was thinking of.
There's like American Comedy Co.
Okay.
Don't go there. Madhouse is fire. And then like one mic drop and a couple.
Were you driving all of it? Were you driving all over the place though in San Diego?
Yeah, you have to. But like you get places in like 15 minutes, dude. Like it was like life was like I said, life is too easy there. I was like, I'm gonna go back to chaos. I was like, I need to be around fucking sirens. You know,
yeah,
like I want to be around like someone screaming for their life. I love it. Like if you ever go sit in Washington Square Park and just people watch, Oh my.
It's beautiful.
God,
dude. I love
dude.
it. Especially like growing up here, man, I cannot see being anywhere that's even half as slow as this. Like I go to LA, I'm there for 5 or 6 nights. I'm like, all right, I got to get back to New York.
Yeah.
It's too slow.
Why is
here.
no one walking on the street?
Yeah,
You're
man.
like, this is weird.
And also in New York, you can do so many things in a day. You know, you can really get to 3 or 4 spots in a night. You
Yeah.
can record a podcast. You can get work done just because everything is so accessible.
Yeah.
I feel like. And when you're in San Diego, you have a night, a bender, you're drinking, you got to take an Uber home, then come back the next day, pick up your car, something like that.
Wait, so I need to know this. Like, what's your life
Let's
like?
hear it,
so
bro.
you went from like tennis to what?
All right. So
There's like a gap in your life.
So
that
I
don't
went
know about.
to I went to school at Friends Seminary, which is over by the Sand, if you're familiar, 17th and 3rd. Grew up on 18th between 2nd and 3rd. So I went there from kindergarten through 8th grade. Then 9th grade, I was homeschooled for tennis. Was traveling the country playing tennis tournaments. Was like privately tutored from like 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. 5 days a week. So that was like my school for 9th grade. Then in 10th grade, I went to professional children's school, which is the performing arts school I was telling you about. Actors, singers, dancers, models, anyone who needed any sort of like extra time. If I were to leave on Thursday night, go to a tennis tournament in Florida, they'd send me the homework for Friday. I'd come back on Monday. I'd take the test. So when
By the way, fairly solid synopsis of your life so far.
well, dude, I've told it so many freaking times, bro. So 7th grade,
But you got to figure it out.
Yeah, of course. So 7th grade, had my bar mitzvah. That was fresh, and that was like a moment where I was like, okay, baseball or tennis, like I was telling you initially. Decided to take tennis fully, and like when I made the decision to be homeschooled, I had thought that I may play pro tennis. Like that's why I wanted to be homeschooled. But then sophomore year came around. I was like, okay, this is probably not going to happen. I went to regular performing arts school, sophomore year, junior year, senior year. And then I played tennis on the tennis team at UConn for 2.5 years. I stopped doing that just because like I was not able to do anything.
D1 though, right?
Yeah.
So I see almost D1 as like as close as you can get to the pros.
Yes.
Obviously without playing pro.
Sure.
So why'd you think it couldn't make it and then you made
It's
D1?
different
now?
in tennis. Like
Really?
by the time you're 18 and 19 years old, if you're
You
not
should
going
already be-
pro, it's a whole step level down. Like even if you're number 1 in the country and you play for USC, the chances of you being top 100 in the world are maybe 5%. It's crazy. Like the best college tennis player of all time, Stevie Johnson, he won the team title at USC 4 years in a row and the individual title 2 years in a row. He won 72 matches in a row. He can't crack the top 20 in the world. Like he was 25 in the world for a little bit, but it's just so different in tennis just because tennis is not like people don't run to the United States to play tennis like they do for football or basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
You got
it's like
dudes like
tennis is
Djokovic,
everywhere.
Nadal,
You got guys going
Federer,
to Mallorca to go train at Nadal's tennis academy. So you have people all over the world in tennis. So like once you hit a certain age, if you're not blowing people off the court with a big forehand, big serve, or like, oh, you see this guy, he could potentially be top 10 in the world, whatever, it's not going to happen. Like tennis is just so different. So once I made the decision to go to UConn, it was kind of decided right there. I was going to be playing tennis in college. And the thing was at UConn, we were by no means a top 25 school. You know, we weren't like a Louisville, Clemson, UNC, Duke, Miami type of place where you can kind of play outdoors a lot. Like we were playing in the dead of winter blizzards in tennis bubbles. So like our tennis team, it was tough to compete against those schools in the SEC, Big Ten, schools like that. So we were around like 50 or 60 in the country and we were solid. So I played on that tennis team for 2.5 years. And during that time, it was like so much of the tennis activity just took over my life in college. Like I wasn't able to do anything. It was like 20 hours a week that was dedicated to tennis. And then on top of that, we were traveling on the weekends. So 2.5 years playing tennis. I retired from the tennis team, started taking acting, drama classes, whatever. I wrote a movie script about this guy, Ryan Leaf. If you're familiar with Ryan Leaf, he was the second overall pick behind Peyton Manning in the 1998 NFL draft. And he turned out to be a bust. Like they were considered to be equal. Like either one of them could be, could have been great. But Ryan Leaf went to the San Diego Chargers, started to have drug problems, and I wrote like a whole 120-page movie script about this guy. So that took up my time for like a year and a half in college. Like I was just writing that for fun. Gone out of college, I didn't have any prospects for jobs, and my dad was like, we need a property manager at the company. Do you want to come join? The job was given to me on a platter. So I'm 23 years old, didn't have a job summer going into September, being 23 years old, first year out of college. I took the job, and then from that point, it was looking like I was going to take over the company. But like year 4 kind of came and I was like, I really am not into this. Started my podcast. And throughout this whole time that I was working
How long have you been doing this?
at my dad's company, 3 years in August.
Okay.
But the time that I was working at my dad's company, like I would follow Giulio Gallerati, who you guys obviously know. I'd follow him around to shows weekly. Like I'd be going to like 3 or 4 of his shows just consistently, like per week, just like going and having fun. And I met all these people, you know, who still do comedy, but like I never really had like the chutzpah, as us Jews would say, to like go up. Yeah, like I did improv for years. You can see that I have that the Herald thing on my refrigerator. I did UCB for like 4 years, and I was super into improv. And then the pandemic came, and I just wanted to. Geez, that's extremely loud. My bad. That's my phone. Potential spam. Does that happen to you?
Yeah.
All the friggin' time. Anyway, so I was doing improv. Pandemic came. So like year 4, I was thinking like I wanted to kind of just try comedy more full time. I was telling my dad that I probably was going to quit the company. Pandemic happened. Then I ended up spending like another year and a half in my dad's company, and then just started doing the podcast, the vlog, and producing the comedy show.
But what else do you do? Like what, like, obviously comedy is the thing, but I also see comedy as like, it's a job. Like at one point it becomes a job.
Absolutely.
And like it could be a fun job, but it's still a job. So it's like, what do you do though? Like strictly leisure. Like what's like a fun thing? And like, for example, like I said, like I love biking through the street. I play softball on the weekends.
I like working out, bro. I like working out.
Really?
I'm in the gym probably
so bored of
5 or
out,
6
though.
days a week.
Like
I
just
run
lifting,
a little bit.
just sitting there and lifting
And running. Yeah. I like doing that.
I don't understand. Like,
Well,
how
I think it
people
kind of brings the same meditation as you'd say, like when you bike. You know, you're kind of not thinking about much. You know what you need to do. I'm like, okay, 4 sets of shoulder press right now. I don't really need to think that much. All I need to do is push. You know, so in my head, I'm kind of like, all right, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to kind of focus on, and I'll just allow myself to do that.
But like, wouldn't you rather go like do something that's like I like active things. For example, like I don't feel like I worked out if I don't sweat.
I like playing tennis, but it's tough in New York City, as you can kind of imagine.
Like you can even go like box or something. Like
that's true, but like in a boxing
you don't
class,
like punching people in the face, dude.
I'm not really a fighter, bro. Have you gotten in a lot of fights? Maybe you're an intimidating looking guy. I can see that.
No, I'm not, I feel like I'm not intimidating, which is why,
bro. You are intimidating, man. Look at this guy.
No, people look at me immediately when I go out and they're like, "That guy's pussy." Like, that guy,
dude. No shot.
soft.
Max and I became tight like a month ago. Before that, I was just like, damn, Max is just like all business. He's here. He knows what he wants. Not intimidating in a bad way, though.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I definitely look pussy.
No, you don't, dude.
Yeah,
are you
sure.
kidding?
Yo, I have people come up to me in bars, like, for no reason wanting to fight, and they're like 5'6".
Bro.
And I'm like, that's crazy that this guy came up to me and was like,
The 5'6" guys.
yo, it happens.
You look like
all
you
the
can take
time.
no, but you look like you can take just about anyone, bro.
I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I'd fuck up a guy who's 5'6". for the most part. Like,
Maybe
for
you
the
like
most
that.
part.
You have like the
But
emotions are ready to go.
Yeah, but the fact that it's like that guy looked around the bar and was like, I could take that.
He's
guy.
looking for the best looking guy there. He's like, we're either gonna fuck or I'm gonna beat you up. You're like, all right, well, I'm gonna beat your ass.
I'm not fucking anyone in here.
And I'm vegan too, bro. So my
Testosterone is down.
Yeah, I was gonna say my hunger pleasures
Dude, I'll
used
eat
to be
a
like
steak
eat
and
nachos
fuck.
and
I'll eat a
shit.
steak, fucking fight, like all in one day.
You're a steak guy?
Yeah.
When's the last time you had a steak?
Today.
What?
No.
For lunch?
Kidding.
I asked you what you had for lunch. You didn't say.
LSD, I told you.
Oh. Straight off the tab.
Straight up.
You smoke weed too.
Everybody tells me to like, oh, you should eat more. I'm like, what if you just take LSD and forget to eat?
Why would they say eat more?
What if I just walk around the city
You're
completely?
just eating LSD.
What if I just lose everything, go homeless and
What did I just ask before that?
if I'm a big steak guy?
Yeah, are you?
And then you actually asked me about weed right after.
That's what I was wondering.
I do smoke weed.
I forgot
I
that.
didn't take LSD, but for sure I smoked a little bit of weed today.
All right, me too.
But it's like a chill thing, Like I wake up, I'm like, I'm gonna smoke a one hitter, and then like I'll take a walk, and I'll listen to my music, go get a coffee, and then I'll do some writing. Like,
do you smoke before you go on stage?
No.
I see you drink
I go
though
in
before you go
sober.
on stage.
Sometimes, but by drink, it's like I show up and I'm like, let me get a whiskey sour.
Yeah.
And then I'll just hold on to that whiskey sour, and then like once my night is over, I'm like, maybe I'll have another.
Okay.
Like the most I'm drinking on like a night out is 3 drinks, and that's paced over like a couple of hours. I've had nights.
That's
where,
impressive.
Why?
Self-control, I mean. A lot of people can't do that.
Dude, when I was in college, I was drinking like I was like it was my job. Like, so
too.
I knew, I was like, Max, cut down, don't do that. You're an adult.
Like, dude, I'd be passed out, shoes on, 8:30 p.m.
I met one of my best friends in college because literally the first night of college, we went, he was like, yo, you drink? I didn't.
Yo, you drink?
Just hear this out. I didn't drink, and I was a virgin, right? When I got to college. Yeah, I wasn't fucking. Dude, I only played sports. Like, that was like my life. I was like, I want to play sports. And this is the thing, it was like, girls would be like, oh, he's so handsome. And I was like, I got baseball practice.
So were you about to go to play college baseball?
No. So like, I would like show up to games. I'd play with like friends. But the thing is, I always played sports like on like a fun basis. Like, we played basketball 4 or 5 times a week. Not even on a team. Like we would just go hoop at the park, and then on the weekends we had games for baseball. But it's not like we were practicing baseball during the week. Like
but it's got to be pretty tough just to play baseball just for fun. I feel like you'd play in travel leagues and people would get more competitive,
like,
right?
But this is the thing is like we played just for fun, but in a sense like I was still good. Like right now, like if I stepped on a mat, like I could throw gas. Like I could throw like 80 something.
Damn.
Probably right now. Like I think if I threw my hardest, I could definitely touch 80. And I'm like, I don't even play anymore. Like I had a good arm. I always played sports like well, but I never put like the work in to like hit another level. Like I was good at sports. I was never great at sports. Like I'm great compared to like the average person that like plays whatever. But like for that, I was just like, I just loved playing and I still do. So for me, I was like, yeah, I don't need these hoes, dude. I need fucking.
So it's like baseball and
hoop with
basketball
the boys
in high school, baseball and basketball.
Basketball, football, everything. It's like we played every single sport.
Well, where did you play football though?
Like we would play like rough touch leagues for like money. So like we would play like flag leagues and like the pots would be like a couple $1,000. And it's like,
Oh, for the whole team?
yeah, and like we play against like fucking ex-cons and shit.
Well,
Like,
do you
like
you into fantasy football at all?
nah, I like real.
Real fucking man football.
Well, like the football we play is almost like fantasy. You're like, there's no way this convict.
I mean,
can
bro,
go. And
wait,
then they have
rough touch?
cannons.
Is that what you play? Rough touch? Is that what it's called?
You have dudes who are like, they were like
Shoving.
loan sharks who probably played D1 football and like went to jail and they come back and they're like, I'm going to QB for this rough touch league. Like you play against like elite athletes as well, but it is like, it's competitive, but there's like a fun side to it where it's like, not everybody's training here every day of the week. Like we all take it serious when we show up, but during the week, like I got shit to do, you know, but it's fun. Cause you're like, all right, the winner wins a couple $1,000.
Are you still doing this?
Yeah.
Still playing
I
here
play
and
all
there?
these leagues. Like we play in a softball league now for money on like Sundays.
What do you play in the softball league?
Where?
I know a kid who's
position?
playing in I know a kid who's playing in McCarran Park. He plays like Monday and Tuesday nights. What field do you use? I mean?
Oh no, we play in Queens. These Manhattan leagues is trash.
And you travel back to Queens now, here and there, but your family's not there.
The rest of my family is like my grandma, my aunt, my cousins, everybody. Like everybody is like, we're from Queens. And then, so like I'll travel back literally just like on Sundays.
In Astoria, Queens?
No, it's like a little bit deeper. Like
So-
we'll go to like Flushing,
So
Cunningham.
I used to, do you know, are you familiar with that track in Astoria? I mean, you wouldn't
Astoria
be, I guess.
Park?
Yeah. I used to run on that like all the time in 9th grade when I was
You think running in a
homeschooled.
track is
Boring?
I mean, that's probably a better way to describe it. for sure.
Potentially. I mean, it depends how many.
Just running in a
laps.
circle, like it blows. Like I can't
But like
do
when
like
you're
the
training
treadmill.
for it, when you're training
Like I
for
can't do a
it,
treadmill either. I can't
Yeah,
sit there and run
it's
for like,
boring.
yo, when someone runs 10 miles on a treadmill, I'm like, you have a problem.
that's crazy.
You should go to therapy.
Yeah, because
Like,
you're on it for like an hour and 20.
go
at
outside,
least.
get some fresh air.
Yeah,
It's
and
just
also
crazy to
it's also
sit
probably
there.
not good for your shins.
It's not
I
good for
don't
your shins
think.
at all.
But if you were to be when
Actually,
you
I think
are
asphalt is worse.
when
That
you
has some.
when you are training, I would think that if you were to be running on a track, you can do like 8 miles, something like that, and you wouldn't get bored, and then continue the way. Because
No,
like Astoria,
no.
it's pretty over there.
Yeah, but 8 miles is crazy. Like 8 miles
What's
is what
that?
it's like
32.
four laps a mile.
Yeah, so 32 laps.
32. Yeah, fuck that, dude.
It's a little tough.
I like if I run around that track once, like I did jujitsu at Astoria Park, like during COVID, and I was and, like, we
Nice.
trained there, and like they'd be like, hey, do a couple of laps before we like run like drills.
Yeah.
And so like you'd run like 3-4 laps, like a mile, and you were like, this is so stupid.
What's the longest you've ever ran?
Like I've ran like a half marathon before. Yeah. I just did that. So like that's the thing that I did like on a whim where I was like, okay, I could probably do a full. I think if I
Really?
train a
Like you
little.
were okay with the whatever it was, 12 miles, and
You know
then
what's
after
crazy?
that,
Bro, I ran a
13-1.
I ran a half marathon and then I biked home. Like all uphill in San Diego.
was it
like
the
6
Oh,
miles.
it was in San
I
Diego.
biked like 6 miles, but like all uphill after I ran this half. And I was like, I didn't even train for this. Like I'm like a dude that like mentally, I think I have like a fifth gear. Like you know how I
love
like
that, dude.
genuinely though, like
No,
I
love
find
that.
ways to like push myself where I'm like, yo, I will
Goggins mode.
I'll cry. Nah, like that dude's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, see, that's a dude with like a 6, 7, 8th gear. Like I could find another gear. That dude is like, nothing hurts. I feel no pain. I love life.
I think we might see you
And
though,
they're
like tap
oh,
into that 6th or 7th gear though during the marathon.
maybe.
Mile 18, 19.
And I'm just crying.
Dude,
I'm like,
coming.
I miss my mom.
100%. I'm
I
coming
miss
with a
my
freaking
mom, dude. I'm running. I'm on
Let's
fucking
go, Max.
mile 23. Mom, this
Do
one's
you,
for you.
do you plan on having headphones in?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's going to be a mental game for you if you don't train. But you don't plan on training that much?
No, I got it. I'll be fine. Like I'm a person that like I don't need a million because like I stay active. So like some people are like, they'll
the
be doing
biking's gonna
nothing
help
and then
you,
they're
dude.
like
The
I need
biking's
3
gonna
months of
help.
training and I'm like I am active all the time. Like if I overtrain, then I'll stress my body out. Like for example, I don't want to work out. I don't want to 10 miles and then have to go play softball the next day and be exhausted for that. So like, it's like, I'm still playing sports during the summer. I'm still like, or exercising, but like to an extent where I'm not going to overwork my body, but probably because the marathon's in November, I play flag football, and I'll probably have like games in October, but like, it's just that. Like I'll probably only run and play those games. Like a month before the marathon, I'm only gonna like train for the marathon.
Do you play like zip sports? How do you find these leagues?
We just grew. I mean, I grew up in Astoria, so like.
Oh, and like all your friends
Everybody
kind of
like will know a league or something, and they're like, "Yo, I play in this money league, bro. We scraped everybody 5,000," and then like 5 more teams come next year because like everybody found out about it, and you're like, "Well, we can scrape everyone," and then they want to scrape everyone, and they want to. It's like there's so much competitiveness because there's a pot of money in the middle.
What are the kind of stuff that your friends
The second you put
doing?
some money in front of grown men,
Yeah, bro,
like,
forget about it. Then the athlete in them comes out.
Yeah, I'll fist fight a panda, dude.
What are the kind of stuff that your friends are doing these days, like professionally?
Nothing.
Interesting. Or like working in the hood, working in your hood,
selling that.
In the hood.
I don't know, man. Like I got friends who are like lawyers, work in finance, like a bunch of shit. Yeah, like everybody went to college, so like I mean, I studied engineering, and like. That wasn't even like a, oh my God, in my friend group. That was just kind of like a, yeah, dude, good. You're supposed to. All of us like went to college and studied something.
One of my best friends is a penis doctor. So maybe, down the line, it might come in handy. Yeah. A urologist rather.
Okay. Wow. That's a little different.
So it's the same thing. It's just the study of penises.
I guess, but like there's penis surgeons though.
Yes. He's a penis surgeon.
No, he's a penis doctor.
What's the difference?
A surgeon is like operating.
Yeah. He operates.
On penises?
Yeah. Urologist.
Yeah, but doesn't that person just like read?
What's no. I don't know the specific terms, but he goes to work on the penises. Like if they need incisions and oh my God, that's got to be tough. Nuts. But bro, you were about to be a full-time engineer.
Yeah.
So what did your grades look like in college to kind of get to that point? Like, did you were majoring in it?
They were good. I don't know, like they were just like average. They were just good enough grades to like.
Well, what kind of classes were you taking?
Thermodynamics and shit like that.
What is that?
Exactly.
If you could potentially describe it to someone who doesn't know what you're talking about.
The transfer of heat throughout objects. That's all it was. It was like if this wall is 150 degrees and it's made of this material, and you put fiberglass on the other side. Like, how hot is the fiberglass going to be if I'm heating up this from 3 inches that way? And you'd be able to like calculate how much heat is coming, like transferring through the wall into like this piece of plexi or whatever.
So is that like construction type or no?
No, it was like all types of engineering. Like there's so many things that like we studied and did that I was like, this probably won't be applicable to like a lot of things that I do, but like that's kind of just school. Like engineering is like, we're going to teach you everything and then you can go find your exact route. Like I didn't give a fuck about thermodynamics. Dynamics was kind of cool. So dynamics was kind of like it was almost like physics. Like there was it was like movement, motion. And I was like, this isn't more interesting to me. It was like velocities and speeds of like different things moving at different weights and angles and whatever. And I was like, okay, this is cooler for me than like heat transfer. I'll never do anything that's like heat related.
Was your family kind of worried when you left this job behind?
100%, dude. I mean, like I went through school, like real school, and my mom literally would like look at me. Like I joke around with like JC, and we're like, yo, my mom sold her soul to the devil the second she found out I was doing comedy. Like my mom was like, look, take my life, let this kid be successful.
I feel like that.
Because my mom was healthy, dude, while I studied engineering. The second I got out of it, my mom was like, take me. She looked up and she's like,
I feel like that's got to be tough for every parent though, especially, I mean, you probably spent a lot of money on engineering school, I would think.
Yeah, but it's all, I got to pay it. Like it was never something like she's got to worry about. It's just like my mom's an immigrant. And so she was very just like school and work hard. Yeah. And I was like, you can go to school, you can work hard, but you could also like work hard and smart. It's like, I'm limited by like having a boss into what I can do in engineering. I was like, and I'm not knowledgeable enough in this to figure it out, to run my own company right now. And in my head, I was like, when I got into comedy, I was like,
you feel like you can do that right now, right?
Like I the second I jumped into comedy, I was like, not only can I like do comedy, I was like, I'll figure everything else out. Like numbers make sense. Like I met comedians and people were like, I don't even get how to do the numbers of this. And I was like, you're an idiot. Like, it's fine. Like some people just show up. Like I treat comedy the same way. Like I go to like play basketball at a park. Like some people, like an old head, will show up once a week to just run a game on a Saturday. And you're like, yeah, like we'll pick this guy up. He'll do a show, but like this isn't what he wants to do for the rest of his life. And then some people are like, yo, I trained for this, bro. Like I want to go to the league, you know? Like you want to be like the best of the best. And you're like, I'm going to show up at the park, but I'm also going to do work outside the park. And I'm also going to go there and do this and do that.
Do you see Street Talk Comedy having like a tour kind of situation where you're going to places like San Diego, LA, and just do it like the whole entire summer?
Yeah. Like that's what we're doing now. So like Street Talk was like it's a way to like have a second outlet. So it's like a club can either book Max Manticof or they could book Street Talk. Both of them are mine. So it's like I get booked through 2 different outlets. And then once my podcast takes off, it's like now I can also get booked through that. And like all the outlets lead back to you. Like I think building a network under yourself of like just being multifaceted in business is like the best way to succeed. Like you need forms of income because like people look at comedy and they're like, oh, I only make $800 a month. It's like, yeah, well, if you made $800 a month with 7 different companies, you're fine. Like you'll literally be okay.
Do you ever have difficulty finding comics in places where the comedy scene isn't so hot?
What do you mean?
Like I know you go to places where there are generally, you know, a lot of good comedians, San Diego, Los Angeles, Austin. Do you think you'd have some difficulty if you went to like a Michigan, something like that?
Everyone's everywhere though. Like when we went, like we'll go on the road. Like I've gone to like Albany and like I run like 30s and 35s. Like if I want to like stretch, I want to go 40 or whatever. Like that's fine.
So you feel like the amount of comedians could be less? It could be
it could be more. It could be less. Like I'd rather put people on like homies, but like if I need to run a show, it's like I'll just bring 2 people with me. I bring a host, an opener, and then I'll just run the fucking long set. Like that's fine. So like I said, it's like they can either book Street Talk or Max, but it's like both outlets I control. Like I can figure this out. And then like friends and like people that like love comedy, like they want to come do the show anyways. I'm giving them opportunities and money. It's like, it's not like we're paying people insane, but like there's only so much you can pay people when you're doing a venue of like 100 people compared to like the day I do like a fucking theater. Like if I do like a theater for Street Talk and we do 1,300 people,
yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah. And then like that's the thing is like you can grow your own show and then you can also grow your personal outlet.
What's been your highlight so far? Not even for Street Talk, maybe just for Max Manticof.
Comedy.
I know you did like Funny Bone in Albany, but I know you've done a lot of cool shit. So what's been the highlight?
I don't really have like a thing.
Like a standing out.
I'm weird because like I walk around, like I'm like a confident person. Like when I walk around, but like when it comes to stand up, I look at every set and I'm like, God, that could have been better. That could have been better. That could have been better. Like that's the only way I think. And it's like a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Cause like I take it home with me and I'm like, that fucking sucked. And someone's like, yo, you just cooked up. And I'm like, yeah, but like this one line didn't hit as hard as I wanted. Like I'm very...
On to the next thing.
No, like I pinpoint every single thing that's more bad than like I focus on like the good. So like I just want everything to be like really, really good. And because I don't like settle for like an okay shit, like I think every set just gets better and better. Like when I work around killers and I watch someone like explode a room, I'm like, okay, game time.
What's your kind of mindset when you like host a show at the Stand like last night? I know you had like killer lineups. What's your kind of mindset there? Are you trying new stuff on the top?
No. I mean, half. Like, it's a club, so like you're limited to that. So like when I do a bar show, whatever, you run whatever the fuck you want, new shit. Like it's more like I'll add like new tags and stuff to jokes, but like I'm not gonna run brand new shit and like fuck up someone's show. It's like there's other comics up there, like there's other people that you gotta like bring up. Like last night I was like exhausted and I was like, yo, let's just fucking run this, do it correctly, and then get the fuck out of here. And cause I ran everywhere. Like I went to Broadway before that. It was a really good show for my buddy Zoltan. And then I came to the Stand. I was like, yeah, I'm tired at this point.
Where do you find yourself? Where do you find yourself running the most new stuff?
Like bar shows and shit, like independent. So like when you book like an independent gig and they're like, yo, you want to come do this bar show, and you show up and there's fucking 8 people, you're like, this is exactly where I'm going to talk about Helen Keller, you know, or like whatever you just thought of that day. And you're like, let me just fucking explore this stupid idea.
So how does your career look moving forward, and also how does Street Talk Comedy look moving forward?
I don't know. That's all, I guess, in the hands of like consistency. Like if I just stay consistent with it, it'll be good. That's all it is. Like I don't look too much in like the middle, the 5-year plan. I'm just like the overall plan is like the best at everything. Like I think it's the only way you kind of should take something where you're like,
man, like you take the L's as lessons, not losses, right?
Sure. That's actually not bad. Yeah, that makes sense.
But, and also like you're talking about in terms of not looking at it like a 5-year plan, like you want to be doing this the rest of your life.
Yeah. I also just don't want to take losses. Like I just look at everything as like
a lesson.
Fucking go hard. Like, cause that's what I did. Like the thing is I learned my lesson with sports. So it's like sports are something that I loved. And I never like went super hard at them. Like I was just telling you, it's like I did it for fun. And I'm like growing up, having experienced that for like years and then being like, oh shit, like I never got to play like high division baseball, even like maybe minor league, because I didn't put in work.
I feel that way too, man. Like for tennis, I just never felt like I took it really seriously.
Yeah.
I had every opportunity in the world to take it seriously. You know, like my parents paying for all that tennis throughout the week. Even like going to college and having all these opportunities, I just was never super maybe passionate about it, or I just didn't take it seriously.
Yeah. And then like I feel like I got to a point like when I started comedy, I was like, oh, it's not
like,
just like I can figure this out, but I was like, I can also like do this to the best of my ability. And like that's the only thing that I think about every day. Like I don't get off and I'm not like, oh, this guy sucks, that guy sucks. Like if someone has a bad set, I'll tell them they had a bad set. That's fine. I think like you got to be real with the whole thing. But I genuinely like judge myself and that's it. Like I don't look at someone else and I'm just like, oh, like I'll judge them in regards to like if they're like, yo, can I do your show? I'm like, I can't, dude. Like I just have like a certain like criteria and like I bring my homies on and whatever like for that. So like that's where people think you're an asshole when you're like, yo, you can't do my show, and people are like, why not? And I'm like, because I'm putting my funny friends on. For one, I don't fucking know this guy. Number two, I'm like, I saw you and it was I'm like, there's no reason. There's like, you don't even click on one of the buttons, you know? Whereas like, but for myself, like on stage is the only thing that like I look at every single time, like introspectively. Cause like you don't see everyone. You see yourself every night. You can listen to your set every night. So I'm like, let me just get my shit really good and figure it out.
Do you book people without having seen them before? Maybe if they have a good reputation, excuse me?
Yeah. To an extent though, like this whole industry is very like, what can you do for me? So I see it as like, let me work with people that like, I like their work already, because I'm like, that inspires me, you know, like in this, you only grow by the people you're inspired by. Like when I watch like comics, I'm like, that guy's a beast. Like, I don't even have to know you, but like it inspires me how good you are. And I'm like, I want to get there and more. Like I watch people as like the bar. I don't watch them as competition. I watch them as like, all right, this is where it's at now.
This is where you want to get to.
I'm like, okay, you set the level here. Like this is now the lowest level I want to ever get to.
And hosting at the Stand a few nights a week, I mean, you get to see the best comics in the world.
Best comics, work with them, but like also like you get to kill on the same stage. Like I think there's something kind of cool about everybody having big names, you not having a name, and then people coming up to you after and being like, you're the funniest motherfucker I've ever seen. And you're like, fire. Thank you, man. Because like part of it, like you could take with you and you're like, that's not real. But then part of you could take it and you're like, maybe I am. Like, you know, so like I sit in this middle where like I don't take every compliment and everything people say just for like what it is. I always just kind of sit in the middle with everything and like cruise by. So part of me is like, oh, they probably just haven't seen enough comedy. But then part of me is also like,
oh damn, you could really hang.
Like you got this. Like
Yeah.
just fucking like the more spots you get anywhere, like you're gonna get better and better and better. And then like I think going on the road helps you more than anything. Like people always talk about like working in your city, and like that's one thing because like you're only hitting one demographic of people. That's kind of what's cool about New York is you can go to Brooklyn, you can go to Manhattan, you can go to Queens, and it's like different groups of people.
Definitely.
And then also the same thing, like you can go on the road, like you can go to fucking Oklahoma, and it's probably gonna be very different than, you know, New Mexico, and then very different from Miami, and then very different from San Diego. And like everywhere you start to go, you're like, okay, this shit is proven everywhere I take it. Like this is a banger. And even if it doesn't like murder in your city, you're like, okay, but everywhere I take this, it hits. And like you start to realize you have proven shit. Whereas like if I talk about the E train in fucking
Albany or
Louisiana, someone's like, what are you talking about? Like this guy's on crack.
53rd Street.
You ever get off on 53rd and someone's like, no.
How often how different are your sets then? If you like when you went to the Funny Bone in Albany, how different is your set than a regular night at the Stand?
It's not. It's because like a lot of my jokes are just me. They're not local shit. Like I don't talk about like
the
I was on the train. Yeah,
like
fucking yo, I hate when it skips a stop and everyone's like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't take the train.
Do you have a bar mitzvah?
I did not. I did, but did not. Like they did the whole.
Oh, you had the party. You had the fun part.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a man.
Like when you turned 13?
Yeah, they're like, here, cut the cake. Nah, like you could do like the Torah readings. Like I went to like Jew school and whatnot. But
yes.
Like, I never felt like I like
Jew
did
school,
the thing,
Hebrew school.
You know?
Yeah.
It's called Jew school.
And you spend a lot of time in Shea Stadium before City Field?
Shea Stadium. Yeah, I did actually.
You ever play there? Baseball?
No, I wish. I've been on the field though.
Wait, you like toured the field?
No, I was just like on the field because like they brought kids on the field. I think this is a sick little moment. And then I remember grabbing grass and putting it in my pocket. And then I lost it.
And you took the job being a ball boy at the U.S. Open because your friends wanted to be ball boys at the U.S. Open. How did you get that job, that gig when you were younger?
I just like I played baseball and like I was 14 and they were like, yo, there's tryouts. And I was like, I'll go try out, man. And I showed up to tryouts and they're like, this kid's got a fucking cannon on him. Like they were like one hopping and there was people throwing like, yeah. And I was just fucking throwing missiles across.
You weren't at the net? You were at the baseline?
Yeah, I was back. So there's net and then there's backs. So
yeah.
Your boy was a back.
And they just put what, the fast kids at the net?
Bro, I'm talking like I was throwing like piss missiles, dude. Like people would throw
on Arthur Ashe.
So like all you had to do was like get it there on like one hop.
Yeah.
So like people would like who didn't have arms would be like, and like they throw it and bro, like sometimes like it'd bounce and like it'd go over you and you're like, that guy's never working on Ashe. Like that guy sucks. And then it'd be like me who like played baseball and like across, I would just fucking throw line drives that would just bing, bing, like hit people in the chest. And people were like, all right, we're gonna put this kid in fucking Ashe. Dude.
Bro,
like,
that's so interesting that you didn't really have any interest in tennis. Though.
Zero.
Like, did you get more into it as you were watching it that close up?
I mean, like I'd watch matches in regards to like, let's see who wins because like I got to watch most of the tournament. So it's like as the tournament gets deeper, the people who like love tennis and work there longer, they'll do like the championship match.
Yes.
Like they weren't putting me like at like the finals because it was like these people love tennis plus they've been doing it forever, you know? But like I'd work pretty deep. I'd work into like quarters. And they were like, yeah, he's got a fucking good arm. Like they put me like court 16 got changed into like a big stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that happened while I was working there. It was like the year before and like they removed that court and then like they made a stadium the next year and like then they started having bigger matches there. You had Ashe, you had the other one.
What they pay you like $15 an hour and free lunch? Is that how it works?
No, it was less than that. It was probably like less than $10 an hour at the time. It was
would
like
they give you
minimum
free
wage.
lunch or no? Because I know lunch is like $20 there.
Yeah, so they give you like a $20 card to eat.
Okay.
And then if you worked over 8 hours, you got $40 to eat, which is kind of cool.
Did you roll it over to the next day or no?
Well, what people would do is like with the $40, like people would go and like buy merch instead. Sometimes people would be like, yeah, I'm just gonna bring a sandwich to you and I'm gonna go buy merch. And I was like, that's genius.
And then the umbrellas are freaking $60, dude. One time I got caught in the rain on the way out of there. I was like, oh, guess I need a $60 umbrella. The U.S. Open is fresh though, man. I was there like 2 weeks ago. I went on Arthur Ashe Stadium. My buddy who owns the pro shop right next to Arthur Ashe Stadium has full access to like the whole place. So we were out there doing like racket
Dude,
reviews.
tennis players are fucking assholes, man.
Yeah, man. Well, it's an individual
Del
sport.
Potro used to just throw you his towel when it was like sweaty, like if he was losing. He'd be like,
don't they all do that?
But like I'd catch the towel and I was like, I'm one of you, dude. Like I'm your people.
Like, K?
I was like, my mom is from Argentina, dude. Like,
People say I look like him.
Really?
Bro, I have these tennis passes. This was like when I was a player guest and I used to be hitting partners. That was for a lot of US Opens actually, bro. So was this when you were working? 2009, 2007? Let's see, I have other ones.
2007?
Yeah, bro. 2017 I also have.
Let me see.
Working then?
It was I worked there
like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, probably like 2009.
Yeah, bro. So I was hitting partners for some of these people.
That
was a fun time in my life. Tennis, it was fun, like growing up and playing it, just because like you travel so much more than kind of any other sport by yourself. You know, like basketball, maybe you had like AAU team. Baseball, if you were really good, you travel as well. But like seeing parts of the country that I otherwise wouldn't, was kind of cool, even though it was just kind of in the middle of nowhere.
I had a moment, one time where I was like on the court and I was like blacking out because it was too hot.
Oh my God,
like,
that happens, I
bet.
Dude,
I was up there and like I started to see nothing and I was like, bro, I'm a ball boy. You got to have your hands behind your back. And I was sitting there and I was just like, oh, I'm dizzy,
like middle of the fifth set?
Like during the points, like they're playing like for everything. Like all the marbles. And I'm just in the back. I'm like,
there were definitely a couple kids when you were working who passed out.
Well, like, no, like never on the court, but like I was probably the closest that I've ever been on, like on a court. But like I ran and like we have to hold the umbrellas. And as we're holding the umbrellas, I told like the guy who's like the crew chief of like the ball boys, like on that court, usually it's like a veteran been doing it. And I was like, dude, I need water and a Gatorade. I was like, I'm going to fucking black out. And he looks at me, he goes, you better not.
Suck it up, Manticof.
No, he just goes, you better not. And I was like,
wait, but when would you eat? Excuse me, when would you drink water or drink Gatorade?
After matches and shit. Like,
oh yeah, like not even between. Like the tennis players get it like every change.
Bro, they get like a change, and then they also like get fresh water. Like we had like this Gatorade cooler where they were like,
it was warm.
I mean, we hope it's been changed.
Hopefully
today.
there's ice.
Yeah, we
there.
hope they change it today. And then you like will drink from it, and it's like shit water.
So, do you have any interest in going back to the U.S. Open? I'd
work it for the clothing. Like,
well, you had like those polo suits, right?
dude, I still have them.
But
Like,
when
I still
can
have the
when can
jackets
you
and
wear
shit.
it though?
Huh?
When can you wear it outside of the U.S. Open?
It's sweatpants and.
Is it like with the big guy playing polo on the back of it?
What do you mean?
Like on the back of a jacket, there's just like a big horse and the guy
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
polo
yeah,
on
yeah.
it. You can wear those out though?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't look out of place?
There was a point, like, when I was younger, like, kids would show up with those at, like, to, like, school and stuff.
And like sell it or just be
No,
cool?
just like to be wearing them and so because like they were like $150 shirts.
Right,
like,
right.
So they were expensive,
So
and then the
expensive.
resale after for the people that didn't use them were like $250, and so people would wear them. And in my head, I was like, I just got this shit at home, bro, and like. I think I wore it out maybe once or twice. I would just like wear it, and I was like, "This feels like I'm at work." Bro.
What was your best
Like, for them,
experience
because
as a
they never
ballboy?
worked there.
Yeah.
Nothing,
Of course.
dude. Like
There wasn't anything cool. Like maybe Del Potro and you became friends after you
no,
threw the
just
towel.
like one of the only moments that I remember. I think I told you this. I did James Blake's last match ever.
Yeah, against Agassi.
Yeah, I did his
Or no, someone else.
Ferrer.
Sick.
And then I did his like last match ever. I just remember sitting there, like he got a crazy applause. We were sitting there, and I was like, "This is like a sick ass moment." Like there was certain matches that we did where I was like, "This is like life changing, dude." Like, because like you get to,
Did you see that for yourself at all? You were like, all right, this will be for me in 10 years.
you know, it's crazy. I don't see it now, but like I guess maybe like while I was in it, like I never
I just
realized.
got goosebumps. Yeah.
But like maybe because I sat there, I envisioned
And like you see that spotlight right in your face and you're like, huh.
you're like,
All right,
I'm
keep
here.
moving.
People are looking at me, dude. They don't really care about the match. They're looking at
Your
me.
hands are behind your back.
Nah, you know what's like the most fun though? Like we like catch serves like before they started.
Oh shit. And
that's
they were
what-
that was pretty intense.
Yeah, bro. They're hitting him like 130.
Yeah.
But the best part about it was like your boy was cold at baseball. Yo, I would just short hop him and like legitimate. There'd be
Crow
people,
hop to
there'd be
the
people on the
left
side
field.
who were like, yo, this guy's pretty fucking good. This guy
You ever get hit by a serve or a ball?
No. Like if a ball was coming, you'd just be like,
Quick, yeah.
fucking just move out the way. Yeah.
Any of those line judges ever get in your way or get mad at you?
No.
Because they're moving a lot back
No,
there.
I think that like it was more of like nets. Like we're fine. Like as backs, like we literally stay like in the corners and then just like wait with the balls. Like it's our job was like easy. You just got to be able to throw the ball.
What do you mean?
across.
What do you mean the guys at the nets?
Like at the net, you have the two people who like run across when
Yeah.
the ball hits the net. They also got to get it like if it's like on the sides. Like the only time we get it is literally when it goes like past or like it goes into the crowd, and then we're like, yo.
Well, sometimes both of you kind of run for the ball, right?
Not usually, but like you make the quick decision.
What's the rule there? Is it just like always go for the ball, don't ever think twice?
Yeah, it's like grab the ball, get back, hurry up.
Like you're not thinking like, oh, is that the Nets ball or is that the baseline's ball? You just always just head for the ball. If it's
and
like
then
any sort of
sometimes like
question.
the ball, like let's say like the ball's still rolling towards you and like a net is running towards it, she'll like pick it up and then run and come stand next
Yeah,
to you.
you
as
stand
a
next
back.
to you in the back.
And then like she'll just be like pass it
dude,
off.
I love how you know all this shit, dude. I was a ball boy for a summer when I was like 12 years old for World Team Tennis in Long Island. It was fun, but it's a little bit terrifying. I mean, it was like I was 11 or 12 years old and they were hitting 130 bombs. I was like, had to dodge and duck.
I loved it.
Dodge, duck, dick, dive.
I loved it
and
in
dodge.
regards to just like it felt like a sport where I was like, I'm getting paid for like fucking around. And like I said, like I almost passed out one time. Like that time was legit insane because like there was a point where I was blacking out. And I think it might have
What man?
it might have been like Andy Roddick or something. Like it was
Oh
like,
my God, I
There was
love
like a
Andy.
big match going on. It was like legitimately like a big match. And I was just sitting there and I was like,
That never made you
I'm-
excited
I'm
though,
pretty
man. Like
fucked up.
watching a guy like Andy Roddick play and like breathe all over the court, like Max, let me get the towel.
no.
That never fired you up.
I would just like watch them and I was like, yeah, this is cool, but like
Was it just the sport that just didn't get you going? Like I'm sure if maybe you were a ball boy for baseball or something like that, you get more excited, right?
well, like as a ball boy that like had zero interest in tennis, I was like, I'm just gonna cheer for the guy who's nicer to me. Or girl,
Valid.
you know. So like the people who were like, "Oh, here's a towel," like and like they were
Like,
nice
thank
about it.
you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, like little shit. Or like at the end, like they'd come up to you and they're like, "Yo, thank you." Like win or lose, I was like, that person's fucking awesome. Like Kim Kleister's, like she was super sweet.
Nice.
Fucking God, I'm trying to remember, bro. She made like a comeback in like 2010 or 11, and she after like a baby or something.
Well,
came
Kim
back and
Kleister's,
won.
yeah.
It was Kim Kleister's.
Yeah, she had a baby and
She had a baby.
made it came
yes,
back.
yeah,
made
yeah.
a
So
comeback.
she won the Open when
Yes,
she came back.
right.
And she was just the fucking sweetest person in the world.
Who
Like,
was terrible at
Sharapova, a bitch, dude.
Yeah, I've heard bad things
Like,
about her.
yeah, she just wasn't. And you know what it is? Like, it's not that she was a bitch. It was just like she gets too frustrated and then like takes it out on like whatever's happening. And I was like, all right, this is this is fucked. You're like, I didn't do anything to you.
How about on the men's side? Any cool guys or people that were just nightmares to work with?
I mean, James Blake and Ferrer both like professionals. Like that. Honestly, Ferrer at the time, he was like top 5.
Yeah.
Like when he beat James Blake.
Yes.
And so like everybody knew Ferrer was going to win, but they're like, this is James Blake's last match. Like maybe he shows up, you know? And, but Ferrer was like one of the top guys who was just like a sweetheart. Like Djokovic, very, very sweet.
Ferrer, big bike guy after the match, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Apparently, he also was smoking close to a pack of cigarettes per day being an athlete. I was like, this is unheard of. 5 sets, be on the bike, smoke heaters after the freaking match. It's like, what? Superhuman. Some of these tennis players, man, are great athletes.
Yeah. But like we'd work with like all time. Oh, we fucking, who was the black dude who, Monfils?
Gael Monfils. He's most fun to watch.
He was the fucking man, bro. He was legitimately like, he was a dude that everybody like rooted for, but you're like, oh, this guy's also a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Like mad cool, just like a nice guy on the court, off the court. And he was a dude that like everyone wanted to see. I got to do like 1 or 2 of his matches and I was like, this guy's the man.
He's just so athletic too, right?
Wildly athletic, like super fast.
Yeah.
And like, you know, never climbed into like that top 5. But like was always just like a good player, always gave the good players a good match. Exactly. He was always a threat to like beat you. You had to show up because that dude showed up.
So when was the last time you had this job?
Probably like, huh?
When was the last time you
probably
had
like
the job?
2013 or something.
So I'm trying to think of like who in the latter stages
Maybe
of
like
their career.
second year
maybe
of
saw.
high school, third year of high school.
So you didn't see guys like Nick Kyrgios? No, that was probably too recent. You know him?
No.
Trying to think who else. Federer, you ever ball boy for Federer?
No.
Djokovic?
Yes. Djokovic and Nadal both, yeah.
Love that.
Never did Federer.
Wasn't all crazy with you? Like his rituals and stuff?
No, he actually, I think it was like early. I got him like in an early tournament game. So like he just busted the dude's ass. Like there was no
need
sense
for like
of
slowing
fear
down and stuff like
yeah.
that. Cause he'll like center his water bottles to like have the label facing out towards the court. Crazy shit like that.
Oh, really?
Like not touch the baseline after he wins a point or like take an extra step, stuff like that. Tennis players and rituals. It's like a lot of what you're taught as a junior to have like a lot of rituals in tennis. It's kind of like golf, I guess, because like every single shot matters.
Yeah.
Like golf more so. Because like if you hit the ball, I don't know, all the way to the right, wherever, I don't know the golf term. Somebody yells fucking 4. It's tough to get it back on the green and then, you know, get par and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are you playing sports a lot outside of these leagues?
No.
Like just for fun?
Actually, not baseball or anything, but like basketball. Like, but
Like
basketball, something
also-
that like you could just
Yeah, you can play
go to a
pickup.
park. Like, so I just play pickup once or twice a week. Like, and it's relaxing, it's fun, it's cool. And
I want to get
like
back into it,
challenge.
bro. You have to hit me up.
My
I'd
only
love
problem
to.
is like I play hard. Like I hate playing with people that like are hacking, are not playing defense, or just like not knowing how to play basketball. Like I go hard. So it's like I want to go to parks where like people are hooping, like for real.
You go down to West 4th Street, the Cage at all? They have good games there, pickup games. West 4th Street near the Comedy Cellar. Like
No, I've never gone.
Like Patrick Beverly stopped by the other day.
I've seen that people play there, but
Yeah.
like it's such a small court. that
Yeah,
I'm, like,
it is small.
Like it's something that I think people go to because it's known. But
Yeah,
there's
it's just, like,
better
famous.
course in Manhattan. Like
yeah.
like you can go hoop in the Lower East Side, and Lower East Side is like popping.
Yeah.
What the fuck, dude?
What's going on there?
I don't know. I can't
Having
pull
trouble
this
getting out of your shorts. Are those Nike shorts?
Yeah.
Oh.
Jordan. Let me see.
Fresh, bro. Max, by the way, man, that hat is for you if you'd like it. The Ted Jones World Podcast, man. This has been great. What else you got for us, bro? Where can we find you in the upcoming weeks? Well, Street Talk
Just
Comedy.
that, yeah. Just San Diego, LA, New York. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I mean, I'll just have like spots around the city and shit. But you guys can follow me on Instagram, Max Manticof.
Right here.
Dude, thank you for having me.
Bro, thank you
Appreciate
so much for
Is that
coming
it,
on.
Right? Yeah.
That's it. We'll
Yeah,
wrap
okay.
it up.
Yeah. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Max Manticof, and then Street Talk Comedy. And thank you for having me on, bro.
Absolutely. Max Manticof, thank you so much for coming on. Follow this guy. He's freaking hilarious. Peace.